Hi, I'm Maree Pigdon, and here I am at the Button Queen with Martyn, who is going to take us through the store and show us some of his marvellous buttons. And Martyn, what do you have there in your hand?
Well, I have one just here, just for you, Maree. These are hand-painted rose buttons on hallmark silver. Early 20th century, not strictly antique, but because an antique is by definition anything which is more than 100 years old. So these are probably about 1920.
Well, Martyn, these are just absolutely divine. And how did you know that I would be drawn to rose buttons like these? And I think I'm very tempted to buying these ones. These ones are for sale, or they're just display?
They are for sale, yes. They'll set you back a mere £240.
Oh, don't tell everybody. Well, regardless, I think they're just beautiful. I could see that I could make a beautiful garment working around the buttons, which is what I so often do, is fall in love with a button and then create and design an outfit to justify the beauty of the buttons.
But people often get put off by putting antique buttons or glass buttons, enamel buttons onto a modern garment because they've got to come off for dry cleaning, they've got to come off, they shouldn't be washed. But there is a way around that with a little bit of forethought to do what's known as double buttonholing.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
So on a fabric where you would normally have a horizontal buttonhole on the top, on the underside, side you're buttoning over to, you do a second set of buttonholes, but vertically, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with the buttonholes at right angles to each other, your button is not going to pull through.
Right.
Then the clever bit, take an offcut of your fabric and make a strip. And then you stitch the buttons to the strip and button through both the thicknesses of your fabric. So that when you want to wash it or dry clean it, you simply unbutton the whole thing.
Well, Martyn, that is a brilliant tip. Right. So I think that is wonderful.
There is a good spin-off to that, because then if you have a strip, if you have a second strip, you can have one set per day and one set per evening.
Perfect.
It's a win-win situation. It's great.
It's great. And also these same buttons, you know, they might be used on a pink garment, but could also look really striking on a burgundy, so that you can do this exactly the same thing again, and taking these buttons and recycling onto the second garment. So that's making these buttons so much more thrifty, garment by garment. And these are buttons that you would always recycle. You would never part with these.
You know, and then I mean, something like this.
What do we have here?
These are antique. They're Japanese Satsuma ware, which is porcelain, but they were made for export, like so much of the old porcelain items for the West.
Right.
The Japanese themselves had no use for buttons of this sort, but they are quite heavily encrusted with gold and represent what's known as the immortals, the gods of wisdom, longevity, abundance, dignity. That's the things that were important.
Well, that's a brilliant set also to have. You know, I could see that used on a garment, but I could also see that mounted onto a fabric and make a piece for the wall, framed, you know, in the sewing studio or in a collector's section, if you do collect all types of...
we get collectors for these
sorts of buttons. So, you know, that way it would be admired for many, many years. Thanks.